The U.S. showdown. King Charles and Prince Harry in the same country, but will they meet? The secret reason why a reunion is impossible. Charles's heartbreaking dilemma revealed. Royal tensions cross the Atlantic. Why a U.S. reunion between King Charles and Prince Harry is a long shot. Prince Harry could find himself in the same country as his estranged father, King Charles, again next year. But it seems a reunion may not be on the cards. This potential geographical proximity, juxtaposed with the profound emotional distance between father and son, underscores the agonizing nature of the current royal rift, where logistics may align but hearts remain miles apart. After a long-awaited reunion, Prince Harry is still to have a follow-up face-to-face meeting with his father, King Charles. The pair, who are known to have a rocky relationship, had their first meet-up 18 months earlier this year, when Harry stopped by Clarence House for tea with his dad while on a trip to the UK. It came after Harry said his father was no longer talking to him amid his court case against the UK Home Office over his security arrangements while in the UK, which he ultimately lost. The brevity of that 55-minute meeting, often analysed by royal watchers, suggests a carefully managed encounter designed more to manage public optics than to facilitate true emotional healing. But several months on from their 55-minute meeting at Clarence House, many are wondering when their next reunion could be. And it appears that in the first half of next year, they could be in the same country again. The iron cage of state visits, duty over dynasty. Reports have suggested that King Charles and Queen Camilla could be embarking on a state visit to the USA, the same country where Harry resides with his wife Meghan and children, Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet, who have barely seen their grandfather. The tantalizing possibility of sharing American soil highlights the emotional difficulty for Charles, who is physically close to his son and grandchildren yet ethically bound by the crown's rigid structure. But despite the potential close proximity, royal expert Jenny Bond says it's unlikely a meet-up during this trip would be on the cards. The former BBC royal correspondent told The Mirror, "State visits are incredibly busy. The schedule is worked out months in advance and is tightly packed with carefully curated engagements designed to enhance bilateral relations." This observation emphasizes the cold reality of royal duty. The official schedule leaves no emotional margin for error. Every minute is dedicated to political objectives, making a personal family reunion a risk to the mission's integrity. There is very little downtime, and I can't think that the king would fly across the whole country to visit Harry and his family in California. The sheer logistical difficulty serves as a convenient shield against the emotional responsibility of facing Harry publicly. It comes as sources in both Washington, D.C. and London have allegedly revealed that the plans for the state visit being negotiated include a visit to the White House in late April for a string of historic events, on the condition that Charles's health allows him to travel. According to The Sun, Trump's administration is planning a string of events to mark the 250-year anniversary of the founding of the United States, with the royal visit being a major moment in the run-up to the July 4th Independence Day celebrations. The high political stakes, marking the 250th anniversary of U.S. founding, demand unwavering focus, making any distraction caused by family drama an unacceptable risk. Charles's heartbreak, the grandchildren dilemma. Despite the busy potential schedule, Jenny believes Charles would still be desperate to see his grandchildren. He has only met Lilibet once and Archie just a handful of times. This is the deepest, most personal emotional conflict for the king: the duty to the state versus the yearning for his bloodline. The minimal contact with Archie and the near-total absence from Lilibet's life represents a profound personal sacrifice made at the altar of royal responsibility. She added, "I'm sure Charles would love to meet his grandchildren again, and so I suppose it's conceivable that the Sussexes could take a flight to New York, or wherever the King and Queen are based, for a brief reunion." The onus, Bond suggests, lies on Harry and Meghan to bridge the gap, acknowledging that the King's schedule is inflexible. This requires Harry to prioritize his role as a son and father over his current distance from the institution, demanding a considerable emotional compromise. But visits like this are about as official as it can get, and it's really not a time for patching up severely strained family relationships. This stark declaration confirms that state visits function as an emotional and logistical lockdown. A meeting would also inevitably draw the headlines away from the purpose of the visit. The palace's key psychological imperative is control. A family meeting with Harry introduces an unpredictable element that could derail the public narrative. So I think it's an extremely long shot that they'll meet up in the States. Far more likely is that Harry and company will be encouraged to keep a low profile during the trip. The most probable outcome is an enforced emotional distancing, where the Sussexes are asked to sacrifice their opportunity for a reunion for the sake of the Crown's diplomatic success. The rumors of the outbound state visit come just months after the monarch welcomed the U.S. President and First Lady to the UK on a historic visit, with Trump being invited on an unprecedented second visit after being hosted by the late Queen Elizabeth in 2019. Trump began his state visit in Windsor in September, where he was met by the Prince and Princess of Wales, before being treated to a flypast and an inspection of the guards alongside the King. The contrast between this formal, successful diplomatic exchange and the messy, unresolved family situation highlights the fundamental tension in Charles's life. His public role is flourishing, while his private life remains fraught with unresolved pain and separation. The U.S. president was then treated to a state banquet inside Windsor Castle, in which Charles and Trump both delivered speeches. At the banquet, Mr. Trump described being welcomed for a second state visit as the highest honor of his life. The meticulous planning required for such high-level events demonstrates why the King and his team will be emotionally and logistically unable to accommodate the volatile, highly scrutinized dynamic of a father-son reunion. The success of the state visit must, and likely will, come before the King's personal, heartfelt desire to embrace his American grandchildren.